And I appreciate my colleague from West Virginia raising it. I've got a really important issue I need to raise with you guys too, and that's on the permitting front. As you know, back in the day, during the highway bill, we got into Title 41 of the FAST Act, legislation I introduced with Senator Claire McCaskill, and it's called the Federal Permitting Improvement Act. And it creates this Federal Permitting Improvement Steering Council. And we're all talking about permitting now, both sides of the aisle, how to have that infrastructure dollar go further. Energy is a huge part of these projects. In fact, I got involved in this issue initially because a group came to me, AMP in Ohio, and they were working on a hydro plant on the Ohio River. And I think at that point it had taken 6 years to try to get the permits. And there were so many federal agencies involved, the right hand not knowing what the left hand was doing. Capital's not that patient, and they were losing capital. And they came to me and said, you know, is there any way you can, on these big energy projects like this, help us to actually get a decision, get the federal agencies to coordinate and have someone be held accountable. So we went to work on it, and in the end, we got the AFL-CIO Building Trades Council, as well as some environmental groups, as well as the business community on board. And again, I think it's fair to say this has become something that a lot of us are acutely interested in. One thing it does, and this shouldn't be revolutionary, but it is, was it set project deadlines. And it made it a requirement that we actually publicly allow the parties and the public to see through a dashboard to be able to see what the deadlines were. So as you know, FERC is responsible for taking the leading role in many of these large, complex infrastructure projects, including the non-federal hydropower projects, interstate natural gas pipelines, storage facilities, liquefied natural gas terminals, and other huge projects. You guys are the lead agency in a lot of the in-progress and completed FAST 41 projects, in fact. We appreciate that. A number are listed. You can see them on permits.performance.gov if anybody's interested who's watching. There's an online dashboard for that. You guys also recently signed this Memorandum of Understanding implementing the one federal decision under Executive Order 13807 requiring federal agencies to coordinate their NEPA reviews, which I commend you for. I think that was a good decision. I know Senator Gardner raised that. Here's my question for you, and maybe Chairman McIntyre, you're the right person to answer this question. When we wrote FAST 41, we always intended that every single permitting agency would be required to put its schedule for permitting each project on the dashboard. Again, it's a major part of the legislation. Some people, by the way, on my side of the aisle wanted to have firmer deadlines in place, and other side of the aisle didn't want to have any deadlines, and this was the compromise, frankly. At least let's put these deadlines out there so the public can see, people know what's going on. It's the only way the bill works, in my view, and it requires agencies to work together to have a complete deadline and timeline, and to have one agency be accountable is also important. My understanding is that FERC has not been willing to post its schedule. And last year we had a hearing of the Permanent Subcommittee Investigations, which I chair, and your staff members told me you couldn't post your timelines because of internal regulations, and they said you got to talk to the commissioners about that. So here you are, and I'm talking to you. You know, statutes trump, not to overuse that word, but statutes trump regulations, and the statute's clear. So I guess my question to you is, does FERC plan to start posting its timelines publicly? If not, why not? And if not, doesn't your lack of participation defeat the purpose of the statute and the very things that I think on a bipartisan basis we're all looking to see here, which is that these projects get up and going more quickly?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I want to begin by thanking you for raising the critical point of permitting schedules, because we understand that. And much of the work that we're doing now to improve our own internal processes is with an eye toward making our permitting approvals in the areas you cited, LNG terminals, natural gas pipelines, and hydro facilities, more streamlined, more predictable, and more transparent. So we're actively at work on that. As to the posting of information and schedules on the dashboard, that's something I will look into with my staff and I'll be happy to work with you and your staff on as well.
Well, I appreciate that answer, but I'd like a yes, because it's the statute. You guys understand the statute. You know what the rules are. So could you commit to us today that you will indeed post your timelines publicly?
I will commit to you today that I will do that which is legally required of a senator. And since I have not had the opportunity to discuss this specific point you are raising with my legal team and staff more broadly, I'm reluctant to say more than that at present.
Okay. Within a week, I'd like to have another conversation with you. when you've had an opportunity to do that.
I would welcome that.
Is that fair?
I would welcome that.
Good. So you make a commitment to talk to me within a week. And I think when you talk to your staff, they'll be very well aware of this issue, and they'll tell you that the statute requires it. But look, I think it's really important. The FERC has a huge role to play in so many areas, but one is these permittings. And again, I'm convinced that we can do better, and we're starting to do better. The Permitting Council finally has gotten up and going. It got started slowly in the Obama administration and in the first part of the Trump administration, frankly, but now it's up and going, and we need your help. You're a big part of it. On implementing the one federal decision, how are you determining which projects will be treated as OFD projects?
As which, I'm sorry,
As
Senator?
one federal decision projects?
Well, the one federal decision process establishes essentially a government-wide goal of 2 years. And and we are, endeavoring to address that through our FERC processes, recognizing, of course, the roles of the other entities involved in that as well.
Okay, well, if you get back to me on how you're identifying which projects are eligible, my time has expired. I appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you within a week.
I will look forward to our follow-up
Karen?
on that,
Yeah,
Senator.
and thank you all for being here today.